Hello and welcome to Me Time. Today here with us we have Anne Cullen. Anne is the founder of the Connection-Centered Parenting Community, isn't it, Anne? And can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, well, Josie, I'm so glad you had me here to talk about me time because that's really what my community is about. So I am a parenting professional. I've been working with parents for, almost 30 years. So I think most of us understand that connecting to your children is important, connecting to your baby. Obviously, you want to build up a relationship, but what we often forget about as mums who adore our children is to stay connected to ourselves. And that's why I love what you are doing, because it's just so important.
Thank you. Anne, you are a mother as well. How old is your children?
Yes, so, oh my gosh, my oldest just turned 15, and next week my youngest is turning 12. So yeah,
Long journey, isn't it?
yeah, it's amazing how fast it goes.
Um,
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your experience when as a parent? Because obviously your children are grown up and you have had a lot of experience with it. And if I am right, you are an American living in New Zealand and doing it all without the support of a family, isn't it?
Yeah. I have to say, if I could have had someone like you around, that probably would have been really helpful. And the reason I created the Connection-Centered Parenting is because I felt really alone. Things kind of started to fall apart because, like I say, I knew about children and kind of how to grow the best children and, the whole parenting side of it. I understood all of that. And to be honest, we were always told in all of our education, it's really important to look after yourself and protect your partnership and, your marriage, and make your marriage a priority, make yourself a priority. But I never really figured out how to do it because I just spent all my time focused on my kids. And it's like when my youngest finally started school, I realized that I didn't even really kind of know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I was passionate about. At one point, my husband and I were talking about divorce, which completely is not something I wanted to put my family through. And it was really then that I thought, I need to wake up here. I've got to do something different. This, what I've been doing, it's not working.
And I'm glad you were able to share that with us, Anne, because a lot of moms do go through the same thing. And sometimes we never realize, that your priorities kind of need to change a little bit, and that maybe taking a little bit of time for yourself is not as bad as everybody thinks. It's kind of recharging your battery. Because when I was reading an article that you wrote recently from the Natural Parent magazine, and you were mentioning there that making yourself a priority, because we can't give with an empty cup, isn't it?
That's right. It's kind of a saying you hear a lot, but it's actually the truth, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. And I know as a younger mom, I have 2 boys myself, that a lot of our focus is for our children.
Yeah.
And then we have our husband that needs a little bit more of us. And then we have our work. These days, moms have to go back to work.
Yeah.
And by the time you have some time for yourself, you really probably hairs up here and you have run out of energy and you have nothing to give.
Right.
How would you inspire or recommend, what tips would you have for moms out there that are on those early years and is losing themselves with all the different roles they have to play in life and not spending any time recharging themselves?
Yeah, I just remember the guilt, like feeling guilty if I was going to leave my kids, or feeling guilty that I even wanted to be away from them. And isn't it so funny that we get like that? But and for me, it took talking about divorcing my husband for me to kind of wake up. And I don't want anyone to get to that point in their lives, that they're debating something so serious. And so I think it's just really recognizing that, you know, you think by being so focused on your children that you're doing the best thing for them, but doing the best thing for them is actually making sure you are happy, that you feel good. And I'm not talking about in a really selfish way, like always go out and do whatever you want and don't ever worry about the kids. It's not that. It's really about balancing it, understanding, yes, they are little people, they need you, but you can't meet their needs if you are falling apart. You just can't. And I do help moms in my private work and in some of the groups that I run online. You know, I really do give nice little bite-sized ways. You know, it doesn't have to be a week away. It doesn't even have to be a whole girls' weekend. You know, it can be, but it doesn't have to be something so big. You can find those chunks of time and make it manageable for whatever your life circumstance is and whatever your child needs. You know, you really can do that.
I think sometimes it can be as simple as asking someone that you trust, of course, to look after your baby or your child so you can get your hair cut or haircut, you know? And that can be just as simple, doing something little for yourself, taking a little bit of care, and that will lift up your mood and put you on best spirits. And your husband probably gonna look, ooh, and be happy to see that, ooh, the woman that I fell in love still there. She's still going.
Do you know what I find, Josie, is a lot of people, a lot of moms, and I just talked to one today. Her daughter goes to a daycare 2 mornings a week, and guess what she uses her time for? Running to the doctor, cleaning up the house, doing all the jobs. And she's feeling really depleted. She's not the only one, is she? Yeah, it's like when you finally get that
me, honestly, I used to do that little gap that I should probably be sleeping or doing something for myself. I was running around like a headless chicken.
That's right. And that's exactly what she was telling me. It's like, oh, she naps for 2 hours in the afternoon, so that's when I get all the things done. And it's like, so one of the things that I have to say, Josie, is we have to remember what's really important, you know? And sometimes what's really important is, like you said, sleeping, have a nap, you know? I mean, that might be more important than what you have for dinner that night.
And I think your children, you know, at least that's what I think. My children won't care how clean is the house. They would care how much time I spend with them, what I have done, what memories have I built with them. And was mommy grumpy all the time? For me, I think the wake up call was one day that my son said, "Mommy, you're grumpy all the time."
Yes. Yeah.
Something about it.
Yeah. Well, and that brings up, you know, another point is I often say to moms, like, if you are feeling like you need your children to need you less, that is your big message that you need to look after yourself, because your children are never going to stop needing you less. I'm telling you, they're not. They're here for good. They will need you, and even if they're not physically there, they're always with you. I mean, how often do you stop thinking about your children for more than a little bit of your day, you know, and all of a sudden you'll think, or it's raining and you're wondering if they're staying dry, you know? We think about them. They're never going to stop needing you less. And so if you're going through your day thinking, oh, my kids, like I just can't do this anymore. They need to, either like for a baby, the baby needs to sleep more, or the child needs to just be able to sit on the floor and play without me having to play with them all the time. If you're thinking, how can I get my child to need me less? That is actually your wake-up call. Time to look after me. I need something.
Recharge your batteries so you need more, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not about how much time you spend with your kids. It's really about, can you spend time with them where you can focus 100%, where you're not trying to wash the dishes. I mean, unless you're doing the dishes together, you know, slow yourselves down. Like, if the dishes need to get washed, why can't your 3 or 4-year-old help you? You know, I know it's frustrating. I know they don't get done as fast, but they still get done. Your child's having fun. That can actually qualify as a little bit of me time, because that means the dishes are done. And then when your child goes to sleep, instead of doing the dishes, you get to chill out on Netflix or whatever you want to do. You know?
I used to say to my children, if you help mommy, because mommy is always cleaning. And for me, for a period of time, having a tidy house with a toddler was at the top of my list. I wanted to show everybody I had a baby, I still me, I can do it all. I am gonna keep this house spotless. People used to walk in through my door and say, Josie, your house is spotless. I said, nailed it. But that's it, right. I was exhausted with my makeup on.
Yes.
And then with time, I realized I don't care if I can close the door and not see the mess, if I can close the drawer and everything is not matching or aligned, I don't care anymore. And now my boys are at age that they can help me around. So I say, if you help mommy, mommy will spend some quality time with you. We help each other. You help mommy, and mommy will love to play with you. And then I can play.
That's so perfect. That's so perfect. We do the same thing on Saturday. Like, the boys clean a bathroom, we clean a bathroom. You know, it all gets done. And yes, as they get older and older, they can handle that more without your guidance. But it's totally worth it to recognize, first of all, that whatever stage you're in, it won't last forever. Like, it's temporary. No matter how much, you know, you're having to do with them, it's temporary. And I'll tell you what, when my son started high school last year, I started looking at life a lot differently, because now I'm like counting backwards from when he leaves high school and thinking, how much time? Now I've got 3.5 years and he's out of the house. Yeah. Do you think I will look back on when he was 2 and 3 and 4 years old and wish that, yeah, my house was cleaner? Or, you know, I won't look back and think that. Now I'm like, how much more, what can we do together? What can we do together? And thank God we protected our relationship. And my husband and I, if I didn't say, we are together. You know, it was like such a wake-up call. And I just don't want people to need a big, you know, an illness or something, you know, terrible to happen, to give them that wake-up call. Just take our gentle reminder here as your wake-up call, and permission. And what I always say, self-care is not selfish, it's essential. It truly, truly is. And take it from someone that's been there, a professional that works with moms every single day, and a mom who's been there. We've got to do this. We have to look after ourselves.
And I think even if they can slot themselves a certain time to do that, to be able to have self-care. I have a question for you, Anne.
Yeah.
As I mentioned in the beginning, you are a mother doing it all here in New Zealand without your family support. How did you manage to recharge your batteries?
Little things. And you know, when you decide, it starts with a decision. You decide you're going to do it, and you schedule it in, just like you schedule everything else into your day. You have to schedule it in and think about it. So for me, it was hard for me to get out of the house by myself. So my husband, for years, always did bath time. And I always had a half an hour in the evening, and I used it for stretching, some gentle yoga, some relaxation. I didn't sit on a screen, on a TV. I didn't clean the house. And that got me through. And that's when they were really little, and it was really hard. And every single day, I never, ever, unless my husband was out of town, I never gave my kids a bath. He always did it, you know?
Oh, that's good.
So you have to decide. And you can see that's not enough. Like, you have to keep, it has to grow more. And we haven't talked about relationships. Maybe we can do that on another one, about how to nurture that relationship. But this one's about us and taking care of ourselves. That was a way that I made it through my day, you know. So find those windows, decide it's important, and find those little windows, and then grow them bigger and bigger, you know. Yeah.
So basically, start scheduling time, start little, grow then bigger, because
Yeah.
the more you recharge, the more you can give. Correct?
It's the truth. It absolutely is. Yeah.
And it's so simple, isn't it? And I don't know why we don't do it enough. It took me ages to kind of feel like, hey, I actually need to recharge a little bit.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all your expertise today with us. I would like to empower women to, during this period, probably next week or tomorrow, is lots of time in to find me time and to recharge the batteries. And can you please tell us where people can find you on social media and get in touch with you? Because you also do one-on-one coaching, isn't it?
Yeah, I do coaching. So people can come, people either come to me for parenting consults because they want some help with a problem they're having with their baby or their child, or they come because they don't just want to rely on those little bits of me time. They want to do some proper work. And so I do coach mums who are really ready to step it up to the next level. So there's some more information on my website, which is IamAnneCullen.com. But I also have a private Facebook community. So if mums are just looking for a place to kind of get a little bit of interaction from me, but also just to be there with other mums, it's a really, really supportive group. And it's especially lovely for mums who are having a hard time separating from their young children, but also need to get something for themselves. Yeah. So.
And do you personally manage that group as well, so they can also, yeah, they can be in touch with you through there, isn't it, Anne?
Yeah, I'm very active in there. Yeah.
And all of that can be done online. They don't have to book a one-on-one. So if they are in Auckland, they want to get in touch with you, they can, all can be done online. That's correct?
Yeah, I do most of my work online, and yeah, I've got a lot of clients in Australia. So yeah, easy peasy.
Like we're doing it today. You know, I'm in Auckland, you're on the other side, and we're doing it through Zoom.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you for slotting us in today. I am really, really honored to have you here. And I know you, with your expertise, can help a lot of moms out there. Thank you, Anne.
Yeah, well, thanks for doing what you're doing, and thank you for having me. It was fun.